Hello and welcome to the third lesson of business modeling. If you remember from the last time, we designed simple process model with 4 main sub-processes, and this process is purchase of the office supplies, which have the following sub-processes: gathering the needs for the office supplies, selecting the supplier, ordering office supplies, receiving office supplies. Today we will create another process diagram where we will present the details of the first sub-process, gathering the needs for the office supplies. And on this detailed diagram we will present roles, activities, events and message flows. So firstly we open new business process modeling diagram, selecting the BPM and diagram technique, and we start from scratch. So as I mentioned, we will create the process diagram gathering the needs for the office supplies. So firstly I will write the title of the process diagram so we don't forget what we're doing. And let us think which roles perform the job, which roles are acting in the gathering the needs of office supplies. Firstly, we have an employee, which works and runs out of office supplies, and he or she sends request for office supplies to, for example, secretary. And I will create another pool, secretary. He or she will gather the needs for the office supplies, and maybe she uses some kind of information system where she records these requests for office supplies. And the process is initiated when the employee sends a request for office supplies to secretary. We place activities in appropriate pool. And secretary starts working when he or she receives a request. I will mark it as start event, message event. And I will name it receiving the request for office supplies. I will put the title under the symbol. I click attribute placement, add attribute name and place it under the symbol, and I connect activity from the pool employee to the secretary starting event with the message flow. This means that the process in the secretary pool will be triggered when the message comes from employee. And what is the next activity of the secretary? Probably she checks the stock. I connect the starting event with activity with sequence flow, and after checking the stock she probably inserts the request in the information systems for or database for office supplies. Again, I'm connecting these two activities with sequence flow, and I'd like to present the communication of secretary with the information system, and I'm also drawing a message flow from this activity record, the request, to the information. This means that secretary uses information systems and inserts a new record, a request for office supplies. The important remark is that the process in each pool should have a beginning and an end event, because these are independent processes, and we also call this diagram message because we represent the communication between pools only with message flows. And usually we attach to the message flows the messages or data objects. I will attach a message which can represent an email or a phone call or any type of message, but we will not specify it in details now. I will call this message a request for office supplies. And I will create another message in the second message flow, and I will call it new record in new record office supplies request. And after the secretary records the request for office supplies, she probably informs the employee about the deadlines or when he or she will receive the office supplies. So I will call this activity inform the employee about approximate shipment date. And the process in secretary pool ends here. We will not represent any details in this pool information system for office supplies because we are modeling it as a black box. This means that we don't care about the inner performance or inner logic. We only connected the message flow to the edge of this pool. This means that information system for office supplies should accept the new record. And I will connect this activity with the employee. I will create another message event, and this means that employee waits until he gets an information from the secretary. And I will create another message, and I will call it information about shipment date. Okay, and that's it. We created a simple message-driven process model. We have three roles: employee, secretary, and information system. Employee sends a request for the office supplies to the secretary. He checks the stock, records the information system, and then informs back the employee about the approximate shipping date. And that's it for today's lesson.